Hi, I'm Joe, and you're in Joe's Kitchen once again. And welcome. Today we're going to do something, it's a very common snack, and we're going to have lots of fun with it. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to do it on the stovetop. We're going to do popcorn. So without further ado, let's get to it.
We're gonna eat, we're gonna eat, we're gonna eat and eat. We're gonna eat and eat. We're gonna eat and eat. Welcome to Joe's Kitchen, yeah, we're gonna eat. That's right. We're gonna eat and eat. 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 Welcome to Joe's Kitchen, yeah, we're gonna eat. Oh yeah.
All right, welcome back. And yes, we're doing popcorn. We're going to do it the traditional way, the old-time way, on the stovetop, the way Grandma and Ma used to do it. Okay, so we're going to have several ingredients. We'll talk about them in just a second. But first off, I want to let you know that these instructions are very simple, but you got to take in mind of your tools and your environment. I learned a long time ago, some wise teacher taught me that cooking is visual. Well, guess what? I'm going to add on, it's also audible and other senses as well. And in this case, we're going to be listening to how it pops. There's a couple keys here. Seems like a simple thing to do. I get it. You grab some Orville Rickenbacker microwave popcorn, in the bag, drop it in the microwave for a few minutes, or you can get that Jiffy Pop. That was always fun. But we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Those ways aren't necessarily bad. I think this tastes a lot better. Just my opinion. And if you do it the way I do it, I think you'll really like it. All right, well, let's get started. So the ingredients. I have vegetable oil. Now you can use other oils. Olive oil, I did it with olive oil the other day. But remember, olive oil has a lower burn point. So when we're cooking this on a hot flame, medium-high, around that point, vegetable oil is probably a better way to go. It has a higher burn point. Smoke point, I think is what they call it. We're going to use popping corn. You can use whatever brand you like. I just happen to have Orville, and it's a good brand. We're going to use that. And the star of the show, there's not much left, but there's just enough, is butter. I'm using unsalted. So there you go. Now we're going to start this process by turning this on high. Not high. I said high, but I mean medium high. Okay. So we're going to let that pan heat up, and that's the first trick. Don't just drop your popcorn in there right now. Don't drop your oil in there right now. Give that pan about 10-20 seconds to heat up before you add your oil. All right, so we're using a large saucepan, and I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit. I'm going to add my oil. How much oil do I add? I kind of cover the bottom of the pan with the oil. So this pan, I'm going to say, I don't know, maybe about a quarter cup, maybe less, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. There we go. Now, the butter. You don't have to put a lot of butter in. This is going to give it flavor. It's going to give it, it's going to raise it a notch. So I'm going to add this little pat of butter basically, and the rest I'm not going to use. We're going to put that aside, out of the way. All right, and we're going to let that butter melt, and that's going to tell us when the pan's hot. Again, we're not putting the popcorn in yet. That's trick number 2, right? A lot of people have a tendency just to pour it all in, turn the stove on, and just let it go until it starts popping. This is going to make for a better popping corn. So anyhow, we let it heat up. We're letting the butter melt, and you get a good look at what it looks like. That's the butter right in the middle, and that's a kind of a clue for us too. That lets us know when that butter is fully melted. That means that pan is good and hot and ready for the popcorn. All right, don't add that popcorn in until that butter is melted. And you can swirl it around a little, help it around a little bit. And once we add popcorn, we're going to do we're only going to really move it a couple times, 2 or 3 times. And I'll explain that in a second. All right, we're going to let that heat up a little bit more. Just take a little bit. I don't know if you remember, but growing up, Sundays were always a time for me to have popcorn. You could choose. Mom would let us choose. You want milkshakes tonight or popcorn? That was a hard decision to make when you're 9 years old. But anyways, today we're having it. We're going to watch popcorn a little later and eat some TV. No, we're going to watch some TV and eat some popcorn. Anyhow, butter's melting. I'm going to add my popcorn kernels. For this, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup. This is actually the measurement I like to go with. You can go with more or less. Just make sure you kind of adjust your oil or butter accordingly. So, there's my popcorn kernels. Drop it in my oil. You can come in a little closer and get a look at that. And I'm going to swirl it. There we go. And then the final thing to do, put the cap on the popcorn kernels and put a cap on the popcorn popping. And now we wait. You notice the temperature I have set is just above 7, 8, like a medium high. You can adjust that depending on how you think it's working. Like I said, every oven, every stove, every microwave, everything's different. And you have to kind of learn your tools and how to use them and how long things cook. So this I think will work pretty good around just below 8. And if I need to adjust it, if it sounds like it's popping too fast or whatever, I'll change that. Anyhow, we're just waiting. It's a waiting game at this point. It honestly doesn't take too much longer to cook popcorn like this as opposed to in a microwave. The microwave might take a few minutes, I think. This, you just have to get the pan hot in advance of putting the corn in there. But once it starts popping, it's pretty quick. So we'll just kind of wait it out, and I'll probably move the video along, clip it a little bit here and there so you guys don't have to watch this whole thing. So like it still hasn't started popping yet, but before it starts popping, well, it started popping. I like to swirl it a little bit. I kind of already did that, but I wanted to show you all that. You're coating the oil around the popcorn kernels. And I did that a little earlier, but I just wanted to show you. We're going to do that again about halfway through the popping process. Anyhow, it's starting to pop. Stay tuned. All right, it's really taking off now. And that's what will happen. It'll start off real slow, and then it'll just start popping real fast. You want to keep that lid on, obviously, for obvious reasons. Even though I'm wearing protective glasses, it could get right up underneath there, splatter some oil on me, or whatever. It could be dangerous. So I'm waiting and I'm listening for that popping to slow down. And that's pretty common sense, I guess. But not only are you waiting for it to slow down, you're waiting for that precise moment to take it off the heat or turn down the heat. And so I'm listening to it. And it's slowing up now. You can tell it's slowing up. But it's still going pretty fast. So I'm letting it get to where you can almost hear between each pop. And I might do a little swirl. Put it back on the heat. I'm going to turn it down to 7. Try not to let it burn, but it's still popping pretty frequently. Now you can hear between the pops. Let it go a little longer. Patience is a virtue. The goal, and it doesn't always happen, is to not have one kernel unpopped and not have one kernel popped and burnt. So that's hard to achieve, but at least we can try to reduce how many kernels that we have that unpopped. And that's the goal here. So I'm going to turn it off now. Listen to this, how slow it is. I'm going to turn it off. Let it pop a little bit more. Pop it off the burner. Now we let it sit and let it finish any kind of popping it's going to do. That burner's still hot, so I got to be careful. sometimes if you're not careful, this is what happens. So, anyway. All right, I think it stopped popping. Can you hear anything? No, I don't hear anything. Okay, so some people like to pour butter on top. I don't. You could do that if you want. Melt some butter on the side, pour it on top, boom, boom, you got that. Or you have some kind of seasoned shaker, you throw some of that on there. I just like to take a little salt, and we got the Himalayan salt, and we're going to put a little bit of that on top there. But meanwhile, let's take this, I'm going to do it like this. Get like a hot pad for a trivet. And we'll put this on top of that. Take that off. Might want to get a close-up of that. This house is smelling like popcorn. Look at that. Now, those kernels, if you look at them, they're popped nice and full. They're not small. Oh, this is going to be really good. Now, you might say that's a lot of popcorn for 2 people, but I eat a lot of popcorn. Anyhow, that's it. I'm going to make this nice and full. We're going to sit down and watch some TV. Oops. Dropped a little, but that's okay. And I'm looking at the bottom. Take a look at the bottom. You can't really, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's really not much for kernels in there. So that was a good job. That's what you're trying to hit. Anyhow, people like my popcorn. I hope you do too. Well, I gotta get sitting down in front of the TV and enjoy some popcorn. So until next time, enjoy food.
We're gonna eat, we're gonna eat. We're gonna eat and eat. We're gonna eat and eat. We're gonna eat and eat. Welcome to Joe's Kitchen, yeah, we're gonna eat. That's right.